I mean, she was definitely in on it. She knew about it.
She had knowledge of it and everything, and and she planned part of it. I'm pretty sure she killed Harambe.
Well, Harambe had some dirt on her own, and it's all an elaborate hoax.
Was it more email dirt?
Yeah. He was. He stole the server. So.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the longest running episodic audio diary of two guys that have fantastic beers and just so happen to be preachers. That's right, folks. It's your two favorite facially blessed individuals, the two bearded preachers, aiming to misbehave on this glorious evening. And guess what? By the longest running, you know what that means, Martin?
What?
That means this is episode number 52. We've made it a year.
52 episodes. I gotta tell you, Justin, I am impressed.
Looks like we made it.
Have we ever stuck with anything that long?
Our marriages.
I mean, like you and I together.
We were at church. We went to church together for a very long time.
Yeah, we went to church together for a long time.
We did work out for like once a week for like 3 weeks. We did that one time.
Right, like 3 weeks, and
once
upon a time we were going to write a fantasy novel together. You remember that?
We didn't do that.
We didn't do it. Right, we didn't even start that, but we were going to.
We were
didn't even get it off the ground.
No, we used to go to the park a lot.
Yep, not for a year though. We'd show up at the park. We did that for about 6 months, maybe.
Well, I thought it was longer than that.
And Aaron would show up sometimes for that too.
Yeah, Aaron would show up. Millman would show up there. It was awkward because he didn't have kids. Remember
hey
that?
Man, whatever. Sometimes
we play in the monkey bars.
You get the social interaction you can, bro. You get what you can. You know that guy moved?
Who cares? Listen, this is episode number 52. We've got to talk about riveting and exciting stuff. For example, okay?
No. I want to talk about Millman moving.
No, I don't want to talk about that at all. It's like you're looking for podcast bronze. Like that topic. There's two topics that people want to hear. The two bearded preachers talk about. Two topics.
That's right.
That the public wants to hear.
They want to know
about from the two bearded preachers. One of them is a political topic.
That's right.
Essentially political in a sense, but one is like, you know, politics in like, you know, the country politics, and then another one has to do with church politics. Oh snap! And so we're gonna tear it up here tonight. And the first thing we're talking about is how many of you watched the debate last night?
I watched the debate. It was really boring, dude. It was so boring.
I'm gonna be honest. I watched. I thought it was fantastic because I watched it on Facebook. Yeah. And on Facebook they have a scoreboard right in the middle of the two, and it keeps track of like, you know, how many times they interrupt each other and how many times they avoid issues. I thought it was great, man. I was like, when you see it up, I'm like, yeah, I saw that. Trump avoided the most, and he definitely interrupted the most. But let's just be honest, that was a given.
Yeah, we were all expecting.
We knew he was gonna interrupt the most out of everybody because that guy's a loudmouth, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what thing, right?
That's what loudmouths do. They interrupt people. Yeah. What do you think was the highlight of it?
The end when it was over.
You know what?
Terrible.
You know what?
Seriously, I did not like it at all. I thought it was awful. Okay, you have Hillary doing her smug, I'm better than you, stupid
the face
head
thing
nod or whatever. Yeah. And she owned him in the debate because he's not a debater at all. And she pretty much raked him over the coals. But for the majority of folks who already like Trump, they're not even going to notice that. I watched it on Fox News, and afterwards, they were talking about how Trump had done well. And I was like,
it's Fox News, man.
He didn't.
Doesn't Fox News, isn't that Fox News is always like, geared that way?
Yeah. They're gonna they appeal to the conservative audience. That's their deal. I don't see how anybody could say with any bit of sincerity whatsoever that Trump had won that debate, or that he had said anything remotely comprehensible at all. He was awful. It was terrible. Yeah. But I mean, it's funny. So.
When's the next one? I'm excited for the next one.
The next debate?
Yeah.
What are they supposed to be talking about during that?
I don't know. When is it? I don't even know when it is.
I don't know. I think it's sometime in October.
Let me make a suggestion to everybody. If you're going to watch the debate, watch it on Facebook. I said, there was a link where they kept track of everything. In addition, you can make comments during it. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. Oh, it was the best. Like, there was a span of like 15, 20 comments right in a row that just said, I love Brussels sprouts. I thought that was funny. Then I think what we've learned from, because it just kind of goes to show you that, how pathetic kind of the debate was. People are just like, this is kind of, they were checking out watching Facebook, playing with Facebook, and they were just putting random things. However, one good thing did come out of the debate by watching the debate on Facebook. We've learned the truth, Martin.
What is that?
That Hillary killed Harambe.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that happened.
I'm pretty sure that happened too. She was in on the whole thing. She orchestrated the whole thing. I mean, that's what she does.
So you're calling for an investigation of the conspiracy to kill Harambe?
Absolutely. I think the public deserves to know.
From the highest heights of government.
Exactly. I think
call the shots to take them down.
Yeah, I think so. I think he had some dirt on Hillary. Because, what happens every time someone gets dirt on Hillary?
She kills him.
She kills him. She has him killed. Yeah. Okay, we joke about that.
I don't even know why we're laughing, because it's literally true.
I know. And we're still laughing. It's a nervous laugh. Oh gosh.
We're just kidding.
Oh, I hope no one listens to this.
She has not killed anyone.
She's a fine, upstanding citizen.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, I couldn't keep it.
Nah, she's gonna kill them all.
Nah. Yeah. All right, just watching them kind of go back and forth and everything like that. I've seen high school debates go better than that. And he just was, I don't know, it was pathetic. I was like, gosh, this is what America hey, we want this guy to be our president. This is who we want to run for the Republican Party. I was just like, you gotta be freaking kidding me.
That debate turned me into a premillennialist, because I can't believe that the world is getting any better. It's definitely getting worse. It's definitely gonna, after watching that nonsense, there's no other position that one can reasonably hold. These are the people that we as the country have selected to be our leaders, and that's shocking. It's so yeah. I'm a premillennialist now. I've got no options. No options. Mm-hmm. The world's spinning down the drain. Just kidding. Premillennialism's stupid.
No way would I believe anything stupid like that.
That's right. It's so dumb.
That goes right up with either one of them and make a good president. Oh, my bad. Yeah, I mean, when okay, I'm this kind of guy, you've really got to keep my attention. I check out, you know that. I check out the stuff. I guess that's my personality.
I know I edit the podcast. You check out all the time and try and bring it back together. It's not always the easiest thing.
So I check out all the time, and so that's kind of what happened a little bit during the debate.
So you weren't paying attention during the debate?
Is that bad? I mean, here's what I was listening, and there was times I was laughing, but that's the reason I was laughing is because I was watching the feed, of people talking. I thought that was hysterical, but then I was just I'm listening to them, and I'm he's really not even answering the question. No. It was something about the law enforcement. They were bringing up all that kind of that discussion and everything. And he must have said 50 times in the span of 2 minutes of how much we need law and order.
Yeah.
And you're just I was like, oh, so Law and Order is your catchphrase. Like, I thought that was a show, you know?
That's what Chuck Norris named his fists.
Yeah, but he's like, we need Law and Order. And I was like, yeah, okay, dude, I understand that, you know, but like, you're kind of skirting the issue. You're not really talking about it and everything about, you know, what do we do about and here's the thing too. Do you think things are worse than they were 30, 40 years ago, or you just think they're different?
I can't really speak to 30, 40 years ago because I was like 7. I mean, so yeah, I don't really know. I can tell you that I'm doing better now than I was 10 years ago.
Okay.
And 10 years before that, I was, you know,
like, okay.
10 years ago, I was doing better than I was 10 years prior to that. So that might just be growing up, though. I think it is. So we're talking, like, the big issue here is, and the big issue that they are kind of supposed to address law enforcement and race and the issues there and everything. And, like, this is the thing. They're making it sound like it's this, like, huge war going on in our country. I've not experienced that.
They're like, yeah, we've never seen anything. I'm like, yeah, we have. We saw this. Didn't we see this back in, like, you know, back in the day when, like, you know, African Americans didn't have any rights and everything? Didn't we see that back? Like, it was worse back then. Don't we think so? Or is it just me?
It seems like things are getting better.
Yeah.
To me.
But we've had some situations where people get shot, and I understand the fear and stuff like that. We got to cut this out because I'm going nowhere with it.
What do you mean? I don't even know what you're saying.
I don't know.
Some people get shot. It's okay. Here's what cracked me up about the whole debate. They were talking about cybersecurity. And for starters, Donald Trump is like, cyber is very important. Cyber is vitally important. It's like, what in the world is this guy talking about? Cyber is important. What does that even mean? This guy.
Well, yes. Cyber. Yeah. That guy is a good friend of mine, Mr. Cyber.
Did you wake up during that portion of it to laugh a little bit?
I don't think so. I saw it right when they first started talking about it, but I don't remember that. He started saying, he said, cyber is very, he said that?
It's very, yeah. And it's like, what in the world is this idiot talking about? And that was the prime time for him to say, Hillary Clinton is not concerned about our information security because she ran an unauthorized, unsecure email server, lied about it, tried to cover it up, and her employees pleaded the fifth when they were questioned about it.
Which you might as well, when you plead the fifth, you might as well just say, yes,
right, you might as well say, I did it. But he didn't even bring that up when they were talking about information security. He had mentioned it before, earlier in the debate, but
it's like I remember that now. I'm like, wrong timing, dude. Wrong timing.
Softballs, and he could have crushed her like a little doodle bug, but he didn't even bring it up. He was sitting there. Cyber's vitally important. Justin,
does he even know what cyber is?
Keep your cyber together.
When he says cyber is vitally important, it kind of makes you think that he's like, he thinks it's a person. You know?
It sounds like a cheat. It sounds like the way they talk in like Johnny Mnemonic.
Yeah.
Like 90s sci-fi. Wait
a second. Are we talking artificial intelligence right now? Because I think that would be so cool. You know?
Talking dolphins and Ice Cube. Can't even believe it.
Sir, what do you mean by cyber is very important? I thought we were talking about AI. We're not? We're not? Oh.
Well, you got to keep an eye on the computers, man.
They're going to take over.
Just keep an eye on the computers.
I don't want my smartphone to get too smart.
That's all I'm saying.
You got to fry my brain in one little... That's what the galaxies have been doing. Haven't you seen that? The galaxies have been blowing in people's heads off.
They're like exploding on people? Well, I didn't know they blew anyone's head off. But,
I don't think it did. I'm just over-exaggerating.
Oh, okay.
Much like the Democrats and Republicans about who won the debate. So who lost the debate last night? America. America lost. Oh, okay.
It's tragic. Shocking. Can't even believe it.
Welcome to intermission. Yeah.
Okay, Martin, we're going to talk about something that happened down here in Florida, or is happening down here in Florida, and we're not going to use names.
Nah,
we're not going to use names because to protect the innocent.
Yeah, plausible deniability.
Yeah. Listen, protect the innocent, and by innocent, I mean us. Because
I didn't do nothing, Justin.
I didn't do
part in this.
Yeah, I've just
been spectating.
I've been spectating, but the reason why is because here's the deal. For those of you that listen to the show, all three of you, you know what we do. We joke around and we make fun of stuff. I mean, that's pretty much our MO. And that is bound to happen with this whole situation that we find ourselves here in Central Florida. We're going to have a little bit of fun. So we're going to leave names out to protect the innocent. By innocent, I mean us. And if you say, hey, we know what you're talking about, we know who you're talking about, we don't appreciate it. And even if you say we don't appreciate it, you know what we're going to say? We're going to be like, we don't know what you're talking about. Reading into this. Because we're not going to say any names. And if we do say name, Martin's going to bleep it out.
That's right. Because I got a bleeper button, and it's real easy to use.
It is. It's very easy.
Super easy.
Super duper easy. So that's what we're going to do. All right. And so with what I'm referring to is this started 2 weeks ago, right?
Something like that.
Yeah, like 2 weeks ago.
3 maybe. I don't know.
There was a very dramatic Facebook post by somebody in our past that was talking.
When you say it makes it sound so weird. Somebody from our past.
Yeah, Martin, a mutual, what's the word?
Influence.
A mutual influence to both Martin and I. And
many of the people whom we know and associate with.
Yeah. And so.
An influential individual.
Very influential. He posted, actually, it was the first post was a very short post. And he was asking about how people feel about larger churches, lack of better words, swallowing up smaller churches. You know, and it's the picture of the multi-site church model of large churches coming in, and when smaller churches are struggling, they take them over and they redo everything and they make it a site of the larger campus. And so apparently this was happening right here in Central Florida, where a church was struggling and another church came in to help. And hilarity has ensued, basically, is what's
it's hilarity for fellers like you and I who don't have any skin in the game.
We don't get any skin in the game, you know.
Right. So we're just observing, and it's funny to us, but it is kind of
it's sad,
kind of tragic.
It's sad, like honestly, like because it started off with one post and it got like 100 comments on it, and it ranged from, you know, consoling the individual to like actually going at the individual, like, hey man, chill out, you know, and it ranged all over the map. And
then people arguing with each other
on that was great.
On somebody else's thing. It was weird. It was like bad decorum all the way around.
It was basically like if my mom and your mom were like talking to each other on our face, like they don't know how to use Facebook. That's what it kind of reminded me of. They're like, you know, hey, if you want to talk to them, like post to their board, you know, and stuff like that. But they're like, there's a conversation here, and then they're fighting in the comments.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And some of them aren't even like, you know, just reply to them. Just reply to them in your comment. You don't have to create a whole nother comment. Just reply to them, you know? So I felt like my mom was in that conversation and didn't know how to use Facebook.
She was not, in fact, in that conversation.
She wasn't.
It's important to point out.
Yeah.
Your mother's a classy lady.
I like the records to stand that my mother's a classy lady and had absolutely nothing to do with this conversation. So anyways, following that were a string of rather lengthy, long posts about the process of what has happened to this smaller church in Orlando and what is going and the whole thing. So we don't want to use names, but we're gonna kind of put it out here. We're gonna call the representative of the smaller church. We're referring to him as the giant of the faith. Okay,
the giant of the faith. This
the giant of the faith
individual.
This very influential. Yeah, giant of the faith. We're short giant for short. Okay,
the giant.
Right. The giant. Okay, so it's giant versus this larger church entity, which we will refer to as the corporation. Okay?
The corporation.
Yeah. So the giant versus the corporation.
This is sounding like a young adult dystopian novel Almost.
It does. It also sounds like a WWE wrestling match for WrestleMania. That's what it sounds like. The Giant versus the corporation. And so
Vince McMahon's going down.
Yeah. So do you want to explain kind of what's happened, or do you want me to explain it?
This is my take on it.
Okay.
All right.
From the post that we've read, and here's the thing. Right. It's all one-sided posts, really.
Right. This all comes from the Giant.
Just from the Giant. The corporation has not publicly said anything. Which, mind you, I think is smart. But it's whatever. Maybe if Trump followed what the corporation has done, he'd have won that. You know?
Who knows?
All
right. So it seems like the eldership of the smaller church that seemed to be in trouble had been talking with the corporation for a while. They had been discussing the possibility of it's you use the word takeover, not a takeover, but not a takeover in like a hostile sense.
Yeah.
Right? Not like a dirty takeover or anything like that.
Although that has actually been referenced in this. Like this seems like in some of this seems like a hostile. Those words have actually been used, hostile takeover.
Right.
You know, which it's not. It's not.
The conversation has been going on for a while between the elders of the smaller church and the corporation. But one of the missteps that was taken as the decision was being made to dissolve the smaller church and move its assets essentially to the corporation. It was very fast when it finally went to their congregation.
Yeah, yeah.
So even though they had been discussing and praying and carefully considering amongst the leadership of the smaller congregation for a long time what the right course was to take, when it came to presenting all of this information to the congregation, they did it real fast.
Yeah.
Like a matter of weeks kind of fast.
Like at least 3 weeks. It was like 3 weeks.
That is incredibly fast. I can't get a thing done in my church in 3 weeks. Nothing. I don't know why you're laughing. I mean, this is reality
really
for me.
I understand. I agree with you.
And it's not, I don't even think that's a terrible thing. No. That I can't get a thing done in 3 weeks. That everything takes at least a month to do.
Yeah.
You know, it's a little slower here in Georgia. It's like molasses.
Everything is slow in Georgia. Yeah.
That's right. We drive a little slower.
Yeah.
Which is good for me. So that is essentially the sticking point, I think, is that there was such little time given for the congregation to really digest and think about and pray about this decision, whether or not they would essentially dissolve and give all their assets to the corporation and become a site of the corporation's usual worship. Mm-hmm. Does that sound right? Am I being fair?
Yeah. I think things to note too that and like I said, we just get this from the Giant side. We don't get anything from the corporate side. But the things to note is that the discussion between the consideration of what they were going to do, the smaller church, what they were going to do, apparently had been prayed about for a year. However...
Yeah, they had been working on it for a long time.
They had been working on it just as a leadership, never including any of the congregation, which, it's whatever.
I don't know if it's whatever. It's a significant...
It is... Well, here's the thing. It's whatever if you do that and then you take your time after that. But it's a major thing. Like if you go to your congregation and say, hey, for the next 6 months, we want you guys to be thinking about this. We've been praying about this for a year, and now we want you guys to be thinking about this for the next 6 months. You know, it's a different situation there. And I think that's the biggest issue. But I don't know how long, and this is the thing, because from what I've kind of heard about other ones that have gone like this, I don't know how long the smaller church had been talking to the corporation.
Right.
It could have just been like a month. Like a month prior. You know, it could have been shorter than that. It could have been shorter too. It could literally have been because the assets that this smaller church has, it's actually quite considerable. And it's tempting. It is
they
tempting.
Have expensive property.
Yeah, for them.
And don't carry debt.
Yeah, and no debt. If you just walk in and go, "Hey, look what we got. We want you to take over," which that's what's happened. Okay, it wasn't. And let's make clarification: the corporation didn't come in and go like, "Hey, we want to take over your little tiny church." No, that's not at all what happened. It was the little tiny church went to the corporation and said, "Hey, can you help us out?" That's what happened. Mm-hmm. So you got to take into consideration, you got this property, these assets that are just tremendously. It's just like, here,
it's valuable.
Yeah, it's very valuable. Like, we want to give this to you, and so you can kind of see going, yeah, we got to move on this. We got to move on this. But at the same time, here's what I think. I don't fault the giant for being upset one bit. Okay. I think he probably should have been posting everything on Facebook the way he has been, but he's just trying to do.
Then he wouldn't have two clowns talking about him on the.
Yeah, he wouldn't have at least two clowns.
Dozens of people.
I don't think he probably shouldn't have done. I don't think he probably should have done that, but it's whatever.
Well, maybe we shouldn't be doing this. Whatever.
We don't care.
Not really.
No. But at the same time, I don't fault the corporation either, because I fault the leadership of the smaller church. Because it seems to me like they kind of, I don't know, they forced it through. Like, from what I understand, the pastor, it was announced the pastor had resigned. Mm-hmm. And that same day, they're like, we have no money to hire a new pastor. We are cutting the first service, and all these things that they were changing because it like
one after another,
just bam, 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 and then.
You're talking about major changes,
immediate major changes. And then immediately following that, you had another guy come up saying, we're excited because we got some great, stuff that's going to happen. Believe that God's going to be working through us and everything. And then very shortly after that, like a week later, it's all of a sudden it's announced, hey, we're going to go do this with the corporation. That's as fast as it went. Like, the pastor's done. Pastor's gone. Not even in the picture anymore. And the pastor's been there for a very long time, very loved. Mm-hmm. And now it's just it's all a free for all in a sense.
Well, I mean, it's not even a free for all, because the whole process has gone through.
It's all done. It's a free for all, meaning that it's free. They just got this whole thing for free.
Yeah, there's a lot of different issues. Like, there's a question of church polity, mm-hmm. as in who's in charge in your church
of the corporation.
Right. There's questions who's in charge of the corporation, and the whole issue brings up, in my mind, question of polity in individual churches. Like, you need to know how your church operates. Mm-hmm. As a member of your church, you need to know how it operates. Are you an elder-ruled church? Are you a congregationally ruled church? Mm-hmm. Are you a congregationally representative-ruled church? Like, that's my church. Right. It has congregational representative-ruled church.
Okay.
Which means my congregation elects a board, and then the board makes the decisions for the church.
Oh, yeah, that's how we are, too. Yeah.
I thought you guys were elder-ruled.
No.
The elders aren't in charge?
Elders are, are elected by the congregation. We go through the voting process and everything like that too. So
yeah.
So
do you know how your own church polity works, Justin?
Yeah. Okay. Our elders are like, for me. I mean, I had to be elected on. In our bylaws, I had to get like 80% in order to be the lead pastor. Our elders had to be voted on by their peers. They had to get an 80% vote and everything in order to do that. Like the way we run, like I will bring, and I bring ideas and stuff. The elders guide me, and they help me, and they actually come up with ideas too, on what we should do. But it's not like they don't sit here and tell me you have to do this, you have to do that. So like that's what I think. Like when you say elder rule, like it's I know churches that are elder ruled where the elders make you do whatever they want in a sense like that. I think that's what you're getting at. And are you saying that the corporation is elder ruled, or?
It seems like the corporation, I mean, I don't know. having not read their bylaws or anything like that.
Because it seems to me they're basically staff ruled.
Right.
Yeah.
And if your staff is ruling or running the church, then that just essentially means that your staff are your elders.
Yeah.
They're just paid elders,
mm-hmm.
and they're ruling the church. So mm-hmm. I think that fits into the biblical paradigm for how churches ought to run. It seems pretty clear to me that there's a lot of freedom in the New Testament on how you set up congregations to operate.
Mm-hmm.
And because there's a lot of freedom there, then if you want to have a church that's run by a staff, that's fine. If you want to have a congregation that's run by that votes on everything, congregational votes on everything, that's fine. If you want to do it that way. I don't think those ways are necessarily ideal, but
voting on everything, like the thing, you vote on everything, you're not going to get anything done. That's really what it kind of comes down to. If you vote on every little thing,
right? So you wouldn't like a true congregational church.
No. I don't think. I don't think yours is like that either, though.
No, it's not. It's mine is a congregational representative church.
The
congregation elects representatives. They form the board, and then the board makes decisions.
I guess you would probably consider ours like staff driven. And I think we use a different word than rule. We use driven because the staff is hired to kind of run the daily operations of everything and the services and everything, and the volunteers they function that way, but. They don't just get to do whatever they want, and we're not it has to go through an approval process, through our elders that are elected by their peers of the congregation. And
who's in charge?
They would consider me in charge, but they would consider, here's the deal. They would consider me in charge of the staff and the leader of the congregation. However, the elders are the ones that keep me in check. If I get out of line, they're right there to say, hey, that was a horrible sermon. That should not have been done like that.
Separation of powers, huh?
Yeah, and so I think that's how I see
Checks and balances.
Yeah. All
right.
But first of all, I was elected. I was elected to be the lead pastor. You were there. You didn't even vote for me. So did you vote for me?
Sure?
Are you sure? Did you vote for me?
I'm pretty sure I did. If I voted at all.
Okay, I'm pretty sure you voted.
I'm pretty sure I did, yeah.
Did you vote for me? You. Okay, thanks. I apprate that.
Yeah, probably. If I was there that day. Yeah.
But here's the thing, and this is because if that sounds like how you guys run too. You're guiding your congregation and your leaders. You're guiding your leaders too, your elders. Okay, and that's what I do.
Oh yeah, but I don't have. Here's the difference. I have influence, but not authority.
Okay.
What it sounds like is the way I operate is the way your elders operate.
Mm-hmm.
So your elders have influence over you.
Mm-hmm. But ultimately,
for the vast majority of decisions and policy and the things that you're doing, you have authority. See, in my position, I have influence, so I'm encouraging them to go this way or that way or do this or do that. But I can't make that decision for them or for the organization. Yeah, so it's just a different political thing.
Here's the thing. I can't make that decision either. If somebody comes up to me, I have to go through a process of approval. I have to bring it before them. I have to say, hey, this is this is what I think. This is my suggestion. Or this is what I would like to do. Or this is what I feel like we need to do. And they look and for the most part, they go, yeah, no problem. They don't, I don't get bucked. Very much, because it's not like I'm coming in there going, hey, I'd like to go ahead and start sacrificing live goats in the middle of service and everything. They're like,
that would be interesting.
It would be interesting, but they're like, I think we're going to steer clear of that. Or I come in there, guys, and I pull in a big old, canister of, poisonous snakes. I was like, okay, everybody pick a snake. This is what we're going to do on Sunday. They're like, no, man. They would be like, I think this is a bad idea. And I'm like, probably, but it's going to be fun, right? No, it's not.
It is going to be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be entertaining. So if I do that, or say I drop or I say something inappropriate, they'll be like, hey, watch yourself. What if I said like a curse word from the pulpit? What? I heard of that happening at another church locally. A preacher he said a curse word from the pulpit, and the next thing you know, he was on a 6-week sabbatical.
You mean I can get 6 weeks off just by dropping some, words like this and like that?
Like this and like that and like this and that. Yeah, apparently.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that? Well,
I don't think that would fly here. I think
I don't think you should do that either. So, but it's that, like, I don't just get to do whatever I want to do. I do have the freedom that if, like, I don't have to get every little thing approved in order, like, I can order Sunday school material. They for Sunday school material or like core group material. If I need to order core group material, I'm free to do that. I don't have to get approval. I don't have to take it to them and show it to them. They trust me to know what I'm ordering and stuff like that. And so that's how we are. So we're actually very similar to you, but they would consider me. They're the leader. I'm the upfront guy. I'm the leader. And, but I'm not, like, I can't just do whatever I want. I think that's very different than what we see in the corporation function.
I don't know.
I think from what we have been privy to through the Giant is that there's no congregational vote about leadership. Okay.
Right.
And one of the and a quote has been made of one of the staff that is saying that the congregation that he doesn't believe in the congregational vote because the congregation doesn't vote the will of God, which is a really interesting statement.
Yeah, that was actually the lead pastor of the
corporation. Yeah,
of the corporation.
I know. I was
and
in a Christian Standard, right?
Yeah. Here's the amazing thing, and this is why this whole issue touches a lot more areas than just one isolated occurrence. It's a hot mess.
I was going to say exactly that. I was like, this is a hot mess. Yeah.
It's a hot mess because the corporation has a very different ecclesiology or understanding of the church than the smaller church that was in trouble, than the Giants church.
Mm-hmm.
They have a very different ecclesiology. So it's probably going to be pretty challenging for the Giants congregation to get on board because it's so very different in the way that they operate. Mm-hmm. I'm sure that there'll be, and it's a big cultural difference for them too. So that's going to be challenging as well. When a pastor publicly says that the members of his church are not able to discern the will of God, essentially what he's saying is that the members of his church are lacking
spiritual maturity.
Maturity, right. Which is, that might be the case.
Might be true.
If you're a church plant and you're just starting off, or if your congregation's full of 20-year-olds or something like that, then that's probably true.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure there are some circumstances where congregations I'm sure there's some congregations that should not be ruled by themselves. That should not essentially be independent.
Or you're literally a congregation of thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people. You're bound to have a lot more immaturity there. I mean, just by the sheer numbers.
You think so?
I think so. If you were to look into like a small church, okay, small church, you would look around and like everybody has some measure of maturity, but probably a handful of your congregation, you would be like, yeah, they're very spiritually mature, And I think
are you saying that the small church is more spiritually mature than the big one? Yeah, boy.
Just because of numbers. Just percentage-wise.
Because it's less people.
It's less people.
Obviously,
that's what I am saying. I think
this is like, you're like the bizarro Andy Stanley.
I am, yeah.
That's who you are.
I am like the bizarro.
You're bizarro.
Remember when he said that? He's like, if you go to a small church, you need to follow God more and go to a large church.
That guy's been losing his mind lately, but we can talk about
that.
That
dude
later.
said that dude made it. I mean, he apologized for that and he clarified his statement a little bit better, but it was a dumb thing to say. I was like, I cannot believe that guy said that.
He said some worse stuff than that lately, but we can get on that a little later.
Oh, I'll listen.
He said some definitely questionable stuff.
So yeah, there's definitely a difference between all of it, but it's just like between what they believe and how they function and everything. And I look at the whole thing and I'm like, I guess you don't know. First of all, we're never going to know the whole story. Okay?
No.
The corporation is going to remain silent on this whole thing. They don't have to say anything. Okay?
Yeah, and they wouldn't.
They shouldn't.
If I worked for them, if I ran the corporation, I wouldn't say nothing.
No, man.
Keep my mouth shut.
Keep your mouth shut. Just keep doing what you're doing. And
keep your head low.
And the leaders of the smaller church, they're not going to say anything. They're done. It's
those
all
guys
said and
bounce,
done.
Dude.
Yeah, those are your bounce. They're done. And then, but all you have is this very small vocal individual who's going to make it. He's going to keep making a ruckus because he just doesn't. I think part of it, like I'll say this way. The whole thing made me laugh because it was a fiasco. It's just, an older gentleman posting things on Facebook and doesn't really know how Facebook works and everything. Is like,
yeah, he does. He knows how it works.
He changed his whole Facebook page to Spanish on accident.
It ain't rocket science, okay? Everyone knows how it works.
It doesn't really. So anyways, so you got this guy and he's posting it, and then like you're just kind of like he seems kind of grumpy, but at the same time you do kind of feel bad for him. Like I genuinely I read some of his posts and I like it's weird because like you read halfway through the post and you're just like, man, I really feel for him. Like this hurts. You're losing your church of what you've known for so long and you've loved for so long. And then he'll say something and you just go, there you go. That you being a jerk again. That's kind of a mean thing to say right there. Like I go, I don't feel bad for you anymore. Then he keeps going and he says something, he keeps talking. You're just like, oh man, I feel bad for him again. And then he says something else rude. And you're just like, well, there you go, man. Like you had me for a little bit and then you just, pushed me away. And then you drew me back in, you pushed me away. I can't play this emotional game with you, man. Just like either be humble and, just share your feelings or just,
I'm sure he doesn't realize that he's putting you in a glass box of emotion here, Justin.
I'm in a glass box of emotion. I don't think
if he knew, he wouldn't do it.
Dude, if he knew, you know what he would say? You know what he would say if he knew?
That you're in a glass box of emotion.
He'd say, I don't care.
That milk was a bad choice?
He'd say, shut up, I don't care. That's what he would say. No one cares. Yeah, he would.
Think so.
I think he would. But, it's like he goes back and forth. Like, part of you goes, man, this is really sad. But then you go, I can kind of see why the change was made. Just from some of the way he talks in some of the posts and everything. Some people felt like his posts were very judgmental and divisive. That was the word that's been used a lot lately, is divisive.
Right. What do you think? Do you think it's divisive?
I don't know if it is or not. Maybe some of it might be a little bit, but I just think it's an older gentleman that is just doesn't know what else to do. He lost something he really loves. He doesn't know what else to do, and he's just getting it off his chest somehow. I don't see it as divisive. I just see it as him trying to understand, and him just he might not have a whole lot of people to talk to just one-on-one and stuff like that, and so he reaches out to who he knows he has all this influence. He reaches out that way because he doesn't know what else to do. So I don't know if it's divisive. I just think it's sad,
See, I didn't take it that way. I didn't take it as he's trying to figure out what's going on, or he's trying to.
Well, he is like that's part of the whole thing.
Voice his concerns or that sort of stuff. He doesn't strike me as the kind of man to think out loud in that way, but I could be wrong. What it struck me as was he was attempting to warn people about the challenges that exist for congregations that are considering joining with congregations like the corporation, right? Mm-hmm. If you're going to do that, you need to think long and hard before you give up your congregational autonomy to be a part of this greater body, and to leave the world of being an independent congregation and becoming like a mini denomination.
Yeah.
That's the vibe that I got from what he was saying. I'm not saying that the corporation's a mini denomination. I'm not sure what all of that would mean exactly. Okay, you're nodding your head, yeah.
Come on,
but
admit you don't know.
I don't know.
You don't know.
Sure.
I kind of is.
I know what I think about the whole multi-site thing, and it ain't my cup of tea.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it works great for some people, and some folks respond to it really well. Some people really enjoy that particular kind of top-down church polity, and that it's effective for some people, right? It's not my thing.
Yeah.
And if that's your thing, man, whatever. But I don't know how well I would work in that particular scenario, and it's not something that I would personally try to develop at this point. Like it's not on my radar to ever do. But I might change my mind. I don't know. You never know.
You never know. Yeah.
I'm just not convinced. I'm not convinced that that's the ideal way to communicate the gospel to your congregation. I like church planting. I like that better.
I think that's funny, dude.
Is it a scandal?
I think it is now. I think it's a scandal now.
Scandalous.
Before we talk about any of that, do we want to use names?
I think we might want to avoid them.
I was thinking that. Because I don't really want to, drag. Like, first of all, I don't want to make fun of, on the podcast. If one or two people, that like us listen to that and they love him, that's not going to help ratings, number one. And number two.
Yeah, because I'm deeply concerned about the ratings.
And number two, I don't really want to invoke the wrath of the Illuminati of Restoration Movement churches. I don't. I'm just saying.
What, like the editors of the Restoration Herald? Those guys?